Let's dive on into Pinterest analytics. I'm starting here because this will apply to each and every one of you. If you have a Pinterest business account, you will have analytics captured from Pinterest available for you. You can find it in the upper left-hand corner by selecting Analytics and then Overview. Pinterest is tracking a few different metrics for you, including impressions, total audience, engagements, and engaged audience. I want for you to open up your Pinterest analytics and take a look at those numbers. It's a great first look to see if all of those numbers are in the green, which means your stats are trending upward. But let's also break down what each of those numbers actually mean and which ones are most important to tune into so you know where to focus your efforts. Here are some definitions Pinterest provides for the words used in their analytics data. Impressions. The total number of times your pins were shown. This simply means your pin was in the view of someone else and it showed up in their feed. It doesn't mean that they clicked on or engaged with it. This isn't one of the main metrics that we track because we're more interested in people that engage with our content. This number is more of a good general indicator that our account is doing well and our content is showing up in the smart feed, so I still want to see an upward trend here. Total audience. This number means the number of people who have viewed or engaged with any of the pins you've ever saved from your claimed website. So for example, if someone saved a pin you pinned of someone else's content, this would not count towards your own total audience. This number only reflects someone seeing or interacting with pins you've created that link back to your claimed site. Another thing to note is that if you create a pin and point it to a place that is not your claimed website, like your Instagram account or a lead page, this audience would not count towards your total audience. Next one is engagements. Engagements mean your pin was saved, clicked to view a close-up, clicked through to your site, or clicked through to a carousel pin. When our audience engages with our pin, it is a clear indicator that they are interested in this content and that the pin is performing well. Lastly is our engaged audience. The number of total audience that have engaged, save, click, view, close-up, or clicked through a carousel pin. Our engaged audience is one of the more valuable numbers for determining our success on Pinterest, and so paying attention to the growth of this number is high on our priority list. So now that we have an idea of what these numbers represent, let's take a look at the filter panel along the top of your screen. Here you can view your content by date, content type, claimed accounts, device, the pin source, and the pin format. And you'll see selection areas for all pins, standard pins, product pins, idea pins, and video pins to allow you to filter the content accordingly to see your analytics. Here are some ways you can filter your data. You can filter by date. So I like looking at the 90 days to see trends and also looking at the weekly view to get quick insights into what is currently working. From a tracking standpoint, we look at the 30-day numbers, so I'm often adjusting and filtering the data for different date ranges. You can also look at content type, so organic versus paid traffic. This will only apply to you if you're using paid ads. For most of us, we'll just look at the organic traffic and not worry about paid traffic, but my ads manager does have a bonus training inside of this course if you want to learn more about paid ads. You can also look at claimed accounts. So you can check out your claimed accounts to see how those other platforms are doing for your Pinterest traffic for Instagram, YouTube, your website, and Etsy. This is the best place to check out how your cross-platform marketing is doing and if those efforts are worth your time. You can also check out devices. Knowing how your content is being consumed, either mobile or desktop or tablet, is an important thing to keep in mind because I think oftentimes content creators create on a desktop and don't think through what the user experience would look like on a mobile device. So knowing your audience may be mostly using Pinterest from a mobile device and keeping that in mind when you're creating can be super helpful. For example, it is important to remember not to use small scripty fonts for your pin graphics that could be hard to read and instead keep things simple and clean. Next, you can look at the source. This will tell you what content of your own that you are bringing into Pinterest, and it will also tell you what other people are pinning of your content. This is important because sometimes your top pins might be something someone else has brought onto Pinterest instead of repinning something you've brought in. If this happens often, it's important to think about using the plugin we talked about earlier called Tasty Pins to help ensure that the pin descriptions with your keywords carry through when other people pin from your site. This way, if a pin goes viral that someone else created and pinned and it's of your content, you know it will have the right wording and attribution to your business versus a description they may write that would not necessarily include your business name or the right keywords. And the final way you can filter your data is by the pin format. This will allow you to look at analytics specific to the pin type. This will help if you're new to creating a certain type of pin and establishing a strategy, because you can get really detailed about the exact pin type stats to see what's working and what is not, and give you the ability to adjust. As you manipulate your data and change your search filters, the top pins and top boards by impressions will automatically show below the graph. This means you can see the pins that have been viewed the most for the filters you've selected. You can further filter your pin data under the top pin section by clicking on the drop-down right under top pins. Remember, we care more about our pins that have been engaged with, and you can change that filter by the drop-down menu to several different factors like pin clicks, engagements, saves, and many more details that will allow you to zero in on what's actually working. These numbers better represent the content that is resonating with your audience, and so this is the filter I want for you to use. Let's cover this in more detail. High impressions are good to check out because it means your keyword strategy is working and your content is being distributed into the smart feed. But we need to take this a step further and track the engagements on those pins. If you have high impressions but low engagement, it could mean that it's time to take another look at your graphics, because people are getting your pins in their feed, but they're not feeling compelled to click through to them or to save them. Alternatively, if you have a high repin rate but not a high click rate, that can mean that people are resonating with the graphic, but the description is not compelling enough for someone to click through, and it might be time to take a look at your call to actions or writing a description that better encourages action from your audience. Outbound clicks represent your top traffic driving pins, so this is key information. This means people are clicking on your pin and then taking action and clicking through to your content, which is exactly what we want them to be doing so that we can continue the conversation somewhere else online, like we talked about inside of Module 3. Now is a great time to pause and take action. Play around with manipulating this data and think through what the information is telling you and what's important for you based on your business and the tips that I just shared. One other feature of Pinterest analytics that I would love to point out is the audience insights. To view this data, click on Analytics and then click on Audience Insights. This information is going to tell you what your audience is interested in based on their behavior on Pinterest. You can sort this information both by your specific audience and also by every user on Pinterest for a more general overview of what is popular on the platform. You also have the option to only look at what your engaged audience is interested in, so you can get very specific about serving them and their interests. You'll see a list of categories and interests as well as a percentage of your audience interested in those things. Sort this to see the top categories and interests for your audience, and then keep that in mind when creating new content. You can also target these categories if you use promoted pins. There you have it, a rundown of all the information Pinterest tracks in their analytics feature, what numbers are important there, and ideas for tweaking your strategy based on those results. Up next, we'll talk about using Tailwind's analytics feature as an option for additional insights into your account.